What up, YouTube? MrGoodtrav here. Giving a shout out to all you Ford and Chevy Dodge truck fans. This is Frank. He's a '69 Ford. You can find him on my YouTube channel. We built him on a '99 Dodge chassis. And he just runs great all the time. In the snow, all the weathers. What a great truck. And looks good too. We've been doing a lot of things here lately. Give you a quick tour. Over here's a '77 Super Cab. And I got it covered up because it's going to be a surprise. It is more crooked than today's politicians. So it's taken a fair amount of body work, and I'm not a huge fan of body work, so it takes me a while. A little bit at a time. I don't like to overdo body work. But come on in my shop here and we'll show you around. Check out this '68 Camper Special. That's a cool truck. All the trim and everything. This is a 390 4-speed pickup. Clean interior. Original carpet. Put a quilt. This is a bed quilt from Walmart. Queen size bed quilt. I like to use those for my seat covers with some bungee cords. They just are more comfortable. When you fold the seat, you gotta kind of re-tuck in the flabs of fat folds. She's a big girl, but it looks good. This truck's fun, the 4-speed. And then I changed the rear end to a '67 Ford Thunderbird rear end. And so that's a Ford 9-inch with a 300 gear ratio. Ran adapters, 5-lug to 8-lug, so I could run the factory wheels and hubcaps. So that changed the top speed from 64 miles an hour, 3,000 RPM, to about 89, 3,000 RPM. So it's kind of fun to drive with the 4-speed. First gear's more of a out the hole and get going a little more. You can get up to like 35 or so in first gear. Then you shift to second and she'll burn them pretty good. So let's take a peek at the engine here. All we did was buff this truck out. You can see a little bit of wear there. Pretty original though. This is the 390. It's been gone through. It's a pretty cool engine. We took off the fans, put electric fans on there, give it a little more poop with that 4-speed and that 300 ratio rear end. Thing you gotta remember about 1968, everything ran on beer. So this is the beer injection. And what people don't realize is what that was for. That's where you put the beer. And these things don't run good at all without beer. They're meant to get 4 miles to a gallon, haul campers, and beer. Lots of beer. So over here we got another truck. I don't know if you can see it very well. This is a '72. This thing had 6,000 miles on it because it was a dump truck. Or it was an RV and then a dump truck. Okay. That's kind of funny. Look, it's the reverse colors of this truck. This one's Wimbledon white, baby blue. This one's baby blue, Wimbledon white. All right. This is a cool truck. This is going to be a short bed. Short bed. And over here, we've got the chassis I've been working on for it. Again, we have a Ford 9-inch. This one's fun. It has a 410 posi track rear end. Then we put an AOD transmission. And we have rebuilt a, what do you think's under here? A Chevy motor, of course, and a Ford. Ta-da! Just kidding. We got a 351 Cleveland out of a 1970 Mach 1 Mustang. Put the HEI on it, went through it, cams, all kinds of good stuff. This thing's ready to rip. We're gonna put the Tech EFI on it, and then that body goes on this frame. We also did the lowered I-beams. You can see here. We redid all the brakes, just went with the drums. They're pretty substantial pads on the front of these, 3-inch. So we're going to try the drums before we do the disc brake conversion. I believe they're called Fat Man arms. They're like a 6-inch drop, and then we did the coil drops. And then this is a neat kit back here with the C-notch, and then it puts the axle on top of the springs. This is all a bolt-on kit for your 67 to 72 Fords, so that's pretty cool. So let's see, what else do we got? Frank, and that's Betty Ford, and then that's the Deuce. Then we got the 77 out there. And then we got this monstrosity, which is actually a Chevy. But this is how I build a lot of my trucks, if you're interested. This is a 99 Chevy Suburban. And first thing I do is I trim them down. Took off about 2,200 pounds on this one. You can see back here how I cut them. I come up inside the fender well on the inside of the post, and then I just use a circular saw with a metal blade to rip right through there. You got to come back far enough so you're including the cab supports. You always got to have the 4 cab supports. And sometimes when you cut these older bodies and you lay them down on here, they'll hit about here because they're a smaller cab, and you'll have a little bit of this ledge which you trim, and it goes underneath the box. And that's just the way it is, but that's so you can use these good structural cab mounts here all the way through. So cut off all the doors, you just cut the wiring, and then you just tape it off like that and just tuck it in here. You can access it with a wire schematic and figure out what the wires do at a later date. You don't need doors or windows to make the vehicle run. So there it is. This is a running, driving truck still. So might be cutting 2 feet out of the frame, shortening it for like a short box. Right now it's a long box. I think I found a 65 Chevy pickup long box that we're gonna cut and put on this one. This one I wanna use the dash just because I think the Chevy has a real clean dash. And you get all the heater and the vents and the air conditioning. So, oh, and I took the muffler off, but I still have the cats. I think I'm gonna hollow out the cats. Like a little putter. I think the cats are loose in the barrels. So 350, 200,000 miles. Got this truck for 300 bucks. Had a front end collision. You can see the condenser's still a little smashed. You gotta be real careful about using trucks that have wrecks or collisions, just because the frame has what is called crush points in it, and it's designed to bend in a collision. So you have to look for those crush points and really look close. This frame here, the only damage is on this front frame horn. You can see it's a little crooked, a little bent back, but I'm thinking I'll just cut it off and then probably re-weld it. Sometimes the core support or these front mounts will need to be changed depending on what truck you put onto it. Like Frank, we had to use the radiator, but the old truck core support. So the core support off, those mounts were cut off. We did the original mounts for the donor truck core support. So let's see, I got a list of a few more things, and then this truck needs to be cut more. You have to cut the hinges off at the very least. Sometimes a little bit of this has to be cut off. Sometimes this square here has to be cut and rounded a little bit more, because your earlier trucks have more of a rounded cowl here versus the late model square ones. And then we will remove all the interior, take the carpet out, and then the rocker gets cut like this and straight right here, because you're using the rocker assembly from the old truck. We don't cut that at first until you got the old truck cut. You take the measurements from the old cut, transfer it here, and then that's where you'll cut this to fit the old cab on this. Like I said, I did the Frank out here is the Ford truck on the Dodge chassis. Betty Ford here is a beautiful Ford, but I just can't bring myself to put her on this Chevy chassis. So we're gonna find a Chevy pickup for the Chevy chassis. I'll cross the line with Dodges. They're good drivetrains, good frames, great axles. The difference is you have the independent front suspension on the Chevys, and then these frames do a large dip like this. So sometimes in order to get cab and chassis to sit right where the frame isn't hanging real low, you have to cut the back of the bed out and do something different back here. Sometimes the bumper even has to drop lower, and then you have this weird bed inside the truck. But it's worth it when you're standing back and seeing where the frame is visually showing. Chevrolet has a large frame. Some guys build C10s and the bottom of the rockers here, and your truck's lifted like 2 feet in the air, and then you got this 10-inch frame hanging down, and I personally think it looks like shit. So the key to do this Chevy actually is the body has to go further down onto this thing than normal. Most likely these seat mounts will have to be cut down so the seat's lower so you don't hit your head on the roof of the truck. And then the bed has to be severely modified to make up for the frame difference there. The front clip pretty much will fit in the right place. This won't look like a lifted truck, but what is cool is it has the push button 4-wheel drive and the fuel injected engine and air conditioning and cruise control, and it actually will work out as a good ladies vehicle for getting in and out, you know, or old man vehicle. Won't be real high, be easy, get around good. So let me know what you think. Ford, Chevy, or Dodge. Take it easy. This has been Mr. Goodtrav. Bless you all. Have happy holidays. Take care. Bye.